are listening to Three Kitchens, a member of the Alberta Podcast Network, locally grown, community supported. Join your hosts Erin Walker, Heather Dyer, and Sarah Somas-Sundaram. What's cooking, ladies?
This episode of Three Kitchens is brought to you by the Alberta Association of Optometrists, proudly celebrating a century of caring for Albertans. It happens. Many people don't call their optometrist first for urgent eye care when they need it.
From spring cleaning mishaps to winter eye infections, if you or your family have an eye emergency, doctors of optometry are trained to diagnose, treat, and prescribe medications. No referral necessary. And just a reminder, Alberta Health coverage is available towards your urgent eye care appointment. To find an optometrist in your area, visit optometrist.ab.ca.
The Alberta Association of Optometrists represents almost 800 doctors of optometry in over 80 communities across the province. Members are highly trained, regulated health professionals who provide primary eye health and vision care to Albertans. Learn more at optometrists.ab.ca.
Welcome to Three Kitchens, Appies and Cocktail and Mocktail episode.
Yes.
Yes. If you're listening to this, it is post-Christmas. You have struggled through the prep. You made it through the disappointment. No.
Hopefully your house guests have moved on. If you had any.
You've made the food. You don't have to worry about cooking or baking or gifting or...
It's all done.
That's right.
And I have to say thank you to my two Three Kitchens hosts here, my left brain and my right brain, Sarah and Heather. Because they were really nice and they got gifties and shared them. And I feel crappy because I was like, well, these Christmas cookies are my
gifts.
Come on. You do not know. Seriously.
So thank you guys. I cannot wait. These marshmallows.
I was making those marshmallows yesterday. I had made like empanada filling and then I was making marshmallows. And Todd's like, what are you making now? Like, why do you keep making it? So then when I said we're doing appies and drinks, he's like, oh, so marshmallows for an appy? I was like, what? No. Like, who has a marshmallow before dinner or like with drinks? It's like
it sounds like an appetizer for a 5-year-old.
Yeah.
Were they messy to make?
I didn't find them particularly messy. It's kind of like making a meringue.
Oh, cool.
Okay.
It helps to use a lot of icing sugar, dust it on, and even like quite a bit on top. Then when you cut through it, the knife is not too sticky.
Okay.
I learned that as I went. That was my first time making marshmallows.
I was going to say, I've never made marshmallows. This could be a whole episode.
The blueberry ones are they're different recipes. And the blueberry one has fruit puree, strained puree in there, which is why they're purplish. And they're a weird kind of texture. I don't know if you kind of checked them out, but they're a little gummier, like a gummy almost.
Yeah, I haven't checked them out. I was going to leave those for the kids actually and just have a little bit to try.
Oh, try them and see what you think.
Definitely will try them.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm not sharing these with my kids if I can help it.
Oh, okay. No.
They're the adults marshmallows.
Oh, are they?
I have some colored ones in the cupboard if they want something in their hot cocoa. They can go there.
Oh, okay. It's because I shared nothing else with the kids that I got today. So then I just felt like, oh, those are for the kids. But
and Sarah also, because I had posted on socials a picture with my hot chocolate and marshmallows, and your husband was like, wow.
I know.
So I said, oh, there's some at your house. Hopefully
no, you shouldn't have said
some
that.
left for him. Oh, sorry.
Darn it. I was actually going to reply and I was going to say, oh, there's none in this house. That's for sure. But I guess I'm too late.
Well, you could always say that you ate them.
Yes. Like my reindeer antler.
Yes, you're looking festive.
Yes, your post-Christmas garb.
My post-Christmas garb, yes.
It's pre-Christmas for us today.
Yes.
But
it's winter solstice today.
Oh.
And so it's extra special.
I like how she's like almost
tomorrow,
dancing in her seat with these antlers on.
Sarah's very fluid right now.
Well, I've been drinking my drink that I made and your drink.
Both of them.
And your drink. Yeah, I have them all here.
Yes.
Oh, good.
I brought all three of them into the recording room on my tray with my 3 appies.
That's what I did.
This is my dinner tonight. See? Magic.
Nice. Well, let's talk about what you're eating. And drinking.
Yeah, so we decided to do appies and cocktails because
New Year's.
depends what you're going to do for New Year's. I mean, for us, it's going to be a quiet one, but I remember the days when we used to get together for New Year's and have a nice little party, and appies and cocktails were the thing to do.
Yeah, and I have to say, we've never really done much for New Year's, but we've always just had like a nice meal, and we've just had something for ourselves as a family. So we'll make mocktails, and the kids will have them, and we'll have them, and we'll make, appies. It makes it a little fun thing after Christmas for just the four of us.
Yes, I should have said that. This was pre-kids that I was talking about. Definitely not post-kids. Yes, same thing, Erin. That's what we do.
So we each took on a drink and an appetizer.
Yes.
Yeah. And there were no duplicates, which is always nice to see.
No.
Not that I expect it, but one of these times it'll be like, what? We all made the same thing?
Yeah.
It's going to happen eventually with the way that our brains are in the, the sharing
mind
realm.
meld. Exactly. It's going to happen. Erin, why don't you start us off? Because
sure.
Yours actually was the only one that I shared with my family.
Yes.
As it happened, because it arrived and my family was all around.
Yes, I handed it to your son and I was like, give this to your mom. And he's like, okay. I was like, right away.
And then one of them came to me and said, Mom, your Erin just dropped this off for you. I'm like, my Erin was here. Oh, that's so nice.
Oh my God, I love those kids. They're all so great.
Yeah, it was quite cute. But I had to pry that toast out of one of their hands.
Oh.
Like he was going to eat the whole thing. So tell us about it.
Okay, so for my appetizer, I wanted to make it something really simple because if you're post-Christmas and you've done all the hosting and all the cooking and all the making, and we've been baking cookies, and I don't know, it seems like, I could sleep in my kitchen and still not finish everything.
Well, you wouldn't get much work done if you're sleeping in there.
No, well, there's the problem. Thanks. I'll just stay up 24 hours a day then, Heather.
Exactly. More effective.
All right. I wanted to make something that was really super easy. So I kind of just came up with this out of my hat because I was just making this for my own snack at lunchtime. I'm a little bit disorganized.
Oh, wait. Can I say what you made first?
Okay.
You clearly made the baguette first. Got you back for the last episode, the Roti John episode.
Yes, I did make the baguette first.
Did you really?
No.
Stop it. Okay. It's like, damn it. She did.
Oh, she would. If it weren't Christmas.
If it weren't Christmas, I would have made that baguette.
Totally.
I have been making this at home on naan bread, and that's all I have right now because the baguette that I got, my family got into, so I only had enough to give you guys some.
Oh.
Hide your baguettes when you bring them home from the store. Kids, they're cute. They feed themselves sometimes.
Vultures.
It's always
they're all vultures. Yes.
Yes.
My kids just sent me a note via paper airplane, and it says, to Mom, I really liked the rice.
What did you make?
Jambalaya.
Oh, jambalaya.
Oh, yummy.
Like I said, I had some baguette issues. You don't have to bake your own baguette. You get to go buy this at the store, and it's 97 cents for a stick of baguette. It's cheap and easy to buy. So you could do that. I kind of wanted to find the little mini naans that are like those individual serving size ones. Mm-hmm. Those are always so nice. Or even pitas. Everything that was that size was sold out in the store when I went. So you're flexible. You can put this on any carb you want, is what I'm going to say.
Crackers.
You could put it on crackers. So grab yourself your carb, your crackers, your bread, your naan, whatever you got lying around, your pita, and you spread some hummus on it because we've all had the veggie trays. We've all got the thing of hummus in the fridge. Mm-hmm. Boom, you can add it into your appetizer. And then you're going to make one thing ahead of time. And that's the chimichurri salsa.
Oh, so good.
From Francis Molman.
Yeah, Francis, you're a good man.
Love of Francis. Maybe he'll get this.
If only he were online and not living by candlelight out in the woods.
With his small hands.
I know, that's all I could think of. Everybody go back go back.
Go back and
for more
listen to
than
the
one-
empanadas.
Yeah, for more than one reason for this episode, go back and listen to the empanada episode that when Erin made amazing Argentinian empanadas. We talk about the chef whose recipe it is.
Yeah.
It's quite fun.
Great.
He is a fantastic chef. Have to
He
say.
is. He is.
Yep.
And his
It's a great
chimichurri
Mhm.
is so easy to make. You make it ahead. Honestly, you want to have this in your fridge at all times.
Okay.
And I believe he says it lasts for about 2 to 3 weeks in your fridge.
It will not because you'll eat it.
It never lasts that long.
Yeah.
But it's good to have it sit for about a week because it has a whole head of garlic, not a clove of garlic, a head of garlic.
Mhm.
There's red wine vinegar, olive oil, parsley, chili flakes. All that stuff's getting mixed together, and then it's with a salty water. So the
Right.
salmonera.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's just you bring water to boil, you add your salt in it, dissolve it, turn it off, and let it cool. And that's how you make it.
So what I love about this chimichurri is like I love chimichurri, but sometimes I find it extremely oily. Like there's too
Yes.
much oil in it, and this one is not like that at all.
Yeah, I love his chimichurri.
So good.
I don't know, I really like this.
Me too.
Very good.
I need to know what was in that drink. She sends a text. The instructions are put half the green stuff into your glass and then add the Perrier to it. And I'm like, green stuff, this should be interesting. And so my husband and I were trying to name what was in it. We only came up with like 2 things. I thought there was mint and lime. And then I was like, I have no idea. No idea what else.
No, it's basil
Oh, basil.
Yes.
and melon. But
Yes.
definitely lime. You can definitely taste the lime.
Yes.
The melon was a mystery to me, probably because I don't like melon.
I would not have guessed melon, but the
No.
basil, yes. Yeah.
Yeah. This was kind of another pull it out of my hat kind of idea. I made these popsicles once for the kids that had this honeydew, lime, and basil kind of concoction. And they were these delicious, I think they had honey in them too. They were really tasty popsicles. And for some reason, they just sprung to my head because when we started talking cocktails, I was like, oh, can I make a drink that's green?
You could call it the Grinch, except it's not angry at all.
There you go.
It's very happy.
Green colored. It doesn't have any alcohol in it. So then I just started searching around for somebody who used these ingredients and made up a cocktail with them.
Okay.
So I ended up getting it from foodandwine.com. And I used a variation on their frozen honeydew basil margarita recipe.
Yummy.
Again, this isn't super complicated to make. You do have to go and buy stuff though at the store that you want fresh or mostly fresh.
Right.
And you have to make it before you want to serve it. You wouldn't want it to sit for too long because then that slushiness that you get, I don't know if it would keep in the fridge for more than like a couple hours.
Oh, right.
You want to have 1 honeydew melon. You want to dice it up into fairly big chunks and put it on a baking sheet and toss it in your freezer and let it freeze overnight. So you got to do that the day before.
Can you buy frozen honeydew?
I've never seen it.
Right.
And then you want to make a simple syrup with half a cup of sugar and half a cup of water. Once you've got the sugar dissolved in there, you add in your basil. So I got Thai basil, which is probably why it was a little bit minty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why
what
I
it
was like,
is.
I'm going to play with the basil. I don't want just basil. I want to put the Thai basil in there.
Yes.
Toss it all into your simple syrup. Let it cook for a little bit. Pour it out, let it cool, and then blend it up with an immersion blender, and then strain your basil leaves out of there. Okay, so you've made your syrup, you've frozen your honeydew melon. Then you want to take out a second mortgage on your home because you're going to have to buy 6 limes.
Ridiculous. Limes are ridiculous. So I don't know
man.
how much limes are for you listeners where you guys are from, but here they're on average about 50 cents to $1 per lime, depending on what season and when you get them and from what store, right?
And these are tiny. Like these are
Yeah.
tiny little limes.
They're
It's
not even
like
that
we're
great.
getting some great ones. No.
Okay, so I squeezed out all the lime. You want 1 cup of lime juice. So blend up your frozen melon with your lime juice the day of, and it makes this fantastic slush. Like just fantastic. It's so awesome. And then you want to add your simple syrup to it. And it says about 6 tablespoons for the amount we made. I would say you could add a little bit more because I really like that basil flavor.
I thought it was
very
perfect.
strong. Like the basil was very, but I love that stuff. I love that flavor,
it was
right?
delicious.
Yeah, it was really good.
So good.
You know
I'm
what
glad
it
you
reminds
liked
me
it.
of is, you know those health drinks that people drink in the morning and it's green and I've always loved them. Like I've always thought they were not the ones with the alpha sprouts and that crap, but like the ones with the cucumber and all the fresh veggies and fruits and apples and all that stuff. This is like I feel like I'm doing something good for my body. So you shouldn't have told me there was any simple syrup in it. So I'm going to pretend I didn't hear that.
It wasn't much for that. It was 4 cups of liquid that I added 6 tablespoons to.
There you go.
That's not much. And I would absolutely try. When she texted earlier and said, do you have any tequila? I was like, I really wish I had tequila because it would have been really, like as a margarita, it would have been really tasty.
I have cachaça left over from the summer.
There you go.
And if you guys had missed that episode, we thought that cachaça tasted a lot like tequila.
Mm-hmm. That was the date night episode.
Date night. That's right. Mm-hmm.
So I picked up Jamie Oliver's new cookbook, Together.
Oh, yeah.
He has a mango caipirinha.
Yeah, I've seen that. I've seen it actually. You know where they have mango caipirinhas is, do you know this restaurant chain called Cactus Club?
Yeah.
Yeah, they've got mango caipirinhas there. Yeah.
I feel like I'd never heard of that drink before you made it. And then seeing it pop up, I was like, ooh.
Well, thank you so much because
that was really good.
Super good. And the family loved it as well. And then when I somehow I didn't like plan out how I spread my hummus and chimichurri. So I had a little bit of both left in the jars when the bread was gone and the family had run away. And I just poured the chimichurri over the hummus, stirred it, and ate it with a spoon because it's so good. Everybody
now
out
you
there,
tell me that.
the two together, so good.
So
you don't
good.
even need the carb.
I would love the recipe for the chimichurri, please. It's a must have. Must have.
So I think if you Google Francis Mallman and chimichurri, you will get this.
Okay. Right. And his empanadas are on there too. So maybe.
Oh, yes. His empanadas are for sure.
So empanadas leads right into Heather.
Do it, Heather.
Francis Mallman and empanadas.
Take it away.
Okay. So I had planned to do a different appetizer, and then it's the week before Christmas, and I was already planning to make empanadas for a lunch. My sister and her family are coming later in the week, and I was going to make empanadas anyways. And so then I was just feeling very overwhelmed, and I was like, forget the other thing. I'm just going to make hopefully enough empanadas that I can share with you guys and call this my appetizer. So it's not the quick and easy one like Erin's option. It does take a bit more time, but I think you can call it an appetizer. They're fairly small.
Totally. And can't you make big batches of this and freeze them anyway so that you could put them in lunches and stuff?
Don't say the L word now. We're out of lunches.
It's only our
you
first
can
day
make
off.
snacks. All right.
Sorry. We don't refer to it as that in this house during holiday breaks.
All right.
We don't even eat the L word during holiday break. We don't eat that meal. No. But an empanada could be any meal. It can be an appetizer. It can be a dinner. It can be your lunch. It can be breakfast.
Totally.
A snack. Anything.
This episode is brought to you by Park Power, your friendly local utility providers in Alberta, offering internet, electricity, and natural gas with low rates, awesome service, and profit sharing with local charities.
Winter is coming, and energy usage for all Albertans will be increasing. So now is a great time for listeners to look at their utility bills and ensure they are on the best plan. Albertans have a choice of utility providers.
Park Power is happy to provide free, no-obligation comparisons. If you decide to switch providers, it's easy, and you can feel good knowing you are supporting a local business and helping to give back to our communities with your utility bill. Learn more at parkpower.ca. So I made a chicken empanada. We talked earlier about Erin's empanada that she made for an earlier episode, and that one was beef. So these are a little bit different, although I did use the same dough recipe, I believe. I didn't have the book, but I looked it up online, Francis Mallmann's dough, which was surprisingly easy to make. Although as I was getting it going, so you have to do this water, salt, melt your fat into it, and then let it cool. And I remembered as I set it aside, I was like, oh, I had this like, I could hear Erin's voice going, that took longer to cool than I thought.
Yeah, totally.
Because it really does take quite a while to cool down to room temperature. But then you just mix your flour in and you've got this great dough, and you let it sit for like an hour, and then you're good to go. So that part was super easy.
I'm glad you remembered that, because I didn't even remember that.
Well, I remembered it kind of late, but that's okay. It was fine.
It's okay. We're reminding everybody else twice over now, so that when they make empanadas,
make that in the morning before you get started, so that'll be nice and cool when you are ready to go. Mm-hmm.
And the other tip is make your filling the day before.
The night before. Mm-hmm.
The beef is far more labor intensive because you have to chop it all up.
Right.
The chicken one that I made is with ground chicken. Much easier. So this recipe was from the kitchen, kitchen.com.
Yes.
For the filling. And then I used Francis's recipe for the dough.
Oh, okay. Okay,
fun.
Interesting. Okay.
Because I knew that we liked that dough.
Right.
And so I was like, I know that one's going to work.
Okay.
And this recipe does have a dough recipe as well. It had quite a bit less flour. So I don't know if it makes less dough, but I decided to just go with Francis's, and it worked out just fine.
Totally.
Yes, it did.
So the filling is ground chicken, onions, potatoes, green olives, capers, parsley, cumin, smoked paprika, white wine, chicken broth. You're basically just cooking it all together and letting it simmer a bit. It doesn't take long because, ground chicken cooks so fast.
Right.
And there's not really a huge benefit to it, simmering a long time.
Yeah.
But I think making it the day before helps because the flavors kind of sit.
And what's the name to that recipe? Is it just like chicken empanadas?
It's called chicken empanadas.
Okay.
That's right. And the little write-up says it's they kind of based it on a few different traditions, Argentina, Peru, Philippine, maybe even. Like there was a few influence in the empanada.
And you added the egg to it, right?
And I added at the end, according to Francis's recipe, when you roll out your dough and you cut your circles and you put your little bit of filling on there, then you add chopped hard-boiled egg and a little piece of butter, and then you seal it up. Remember? Yeah. So I did that with mine
butter?
as well.
I don't remember the butter.
You don't?
No, I never made, because I've made 4 batches of that already. Because I love his but the beef ones, right? And I've never done it with the butter.
So the recipe that I found of his recipe online says you put butter onto the filling and then pinch it together.
You do? How did I miss this?
That's the part that makes it, remember, slurpable, is because you've got that butter.
Oh, now I have to look that up.
So let me tell you, though.
Okay.
I
Tell
didn't
us.
have lard, and I didn't buy lard because I forgot about the lard.
Okay.
I used butter in the dough instead of lard.
Oh.
So I don't think that you would notice a difference in that.
Okay, but I did say I liked your dough better.
She liked it better because it had butter. Sorry.
Everything's better with butter.
I think it is.
Well, and the other thing I did based on the previous episode, see, I actually have learned some things. It's so good. I remember because you cooked yours, you baked them in the barbecue, and I was doing it in the oven.
Yes.
I did have a little trouble getting my oven to a good temperature. The recipe said 350, and I found it was too low. Like it was it wasn't really cooking the way it was taking forever. And I thought, these don't seem they're not browning the way I thought they would.
Yeah.
So I cranked it up to 400 on my oven. So you might just want to play around with your oven a little bit.
Okay.
But on the pan with the empanadas, I put extra butter because when it started to kind of bubble out of a couple of them, I was like, I remember Erin saying she would have put butter, like almost fried them a little bit in the butter because it gets kind of brown and crispy. And so I did that. Extra butter.
I love what you did with
it was
that.
So good.
That was
amazing.
That's what made the dough better. That's totally it. Because I like the texture on the surface and the outside. It's crispy. Like when I bite into it, it does the butter crisp.
It was so good. So good. So good. I do remember the butter.
Inside. Yeah. And I
Sorry.
think it's probably even more important with chicken because chicken is drier than
Yes.
beef. And it doesn't have, like, let's face it, ground chicken doesn't have a whole lot of flavor. So any extra kind of fat or flavor, I think you can add in there. Like maybe rendered bacon fat. I should have pulled that out of the freezer. That would have been good in there.
Yeah, all the fats.
Yes.
So you can kind of play around with it. I ended up with quite a bit extra filling. So I'm going to make more dough.
Yeah.
I hope.
Excellent.
Unless I run out of steam and throw it in the freezer. But I'm going to try to make more dough so I have some to freeze.
But there's your option. If you don't make any more dough right now, it's in the freezer waiting for you. And you can make that up the second week of school when you finally can see the floor in your house again. And things have hopefully gone back to somewhat of a routine.
That's right. And mine were not so pretty. I didn't even think about how to make that cute little rolled edge like you did on yours.
The rolled edge didn't work out on mine anyway, so this looks way better.
It with a fork, and some of them were like fugly. Like some of them were like ugly, delicious empanadas, but I don't care because they're good. They held together. They taste good.
Hey, as long as they hold together and it's not like a fall apart disaster, it don't matter because they taste delicious. So
you
good,
used
Heather.
the kitchen filling and then you added the butter and the eggs from Francis's.
That's right. And I used Francis's dough recipe.
Because his empanada is like, wow, it is so good.
Yeah. I really like the capers in this too.
Yeah.
With the chicken.
When you said that, I was like,
great idea.
That's what it was. Because there was something a little extra in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that you get that hit of salt because paprika, I would say the smoked paprika is kind of the dominant flavor, but that like little hit of salt from the olives and the capers was like,
And I was going to say the salt level of this entire thing, and I don't know where it came from the dough or the filling. It was so like just not too salty and not like it was just the perfect level of seasoning.
Very balanced.
It was well
as Gordon
seasoned.
Ramsay would
donkey.
call it.
No. Fun. Okay, and a drink. There was a drink.
There was a drink.
Trying to get through these drinks. This is really a challenge. This is like
Erin's not much of a drinker, so for her to be drinking we're just surprised she's trying them at all.
Yeah.
So this drink was one that I've had at my friend Sherry's house. Her husband mixes up cocktails when the girls come over and then disappears out of the room. He's like very sweet.
Oh, that's perfect.
And has all the most amazing liquor cabinet. It's like Mary Poppins bag. What's he pulling out of there now? He's got everything in there.
Oh, how fun.
Yes, exactly. So he made us these Bourbon Sours. So the recipe's from her. I don't know where they grabbed it from, but I'm sure it's pretty standard as a sour. So you've got 2 ounces of bourbon.
Wait, so you got this recipe from him?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Nice. Okay.
Yeah. 2 ounces of bourbon, 1 ounce of fresh squeezed lemon juice, 3 teaspoons of maple syrup, a sprinkle of cinnamon, and 2 ounces of egg white, and then liquid egg white. And then you shake the crap out of it so the egg white turns kind of foamy.
Right.
And then you garnish it with a cherry. That's it. I did consider a couple of things. Sarah's sensitivity toward egg. And Sarah's kind of dislike of lemon. I was like, oh no. But I was like, well, we're trying it. If you don't like it, that's fair.
Good. No, I liked it. I liked it very much. But it was so funny because my husband just walked in through the door when I was getting my tray ready. And I'm like, have a sip of this and have a sip of this. And he tried it and said, oh, I know what's in this. And I'm like, what? It's like rum and coconut water. And I'm like, what? I'm like, really? I don't know. So I can't wait to go tell him that that's really
wrong.
I'm like,
nowhere near, my dear.
I don't even know what you're talking about but I said, there's egg in there.
I didn't know that when I had it at her, I guess, because I was just like, oh, it's just been shook so well that it's
frothy.
But the egg white is what makes it kind of foamy like that.
Right. It's very yummy. It's very delicious.
I like it too.
Good
Maybe
stuff.
I'll mix one. If I ever get through Sarah's drink and I'm still awake and upright, I might make myself one tonight.
It's really tasty.
Yeah, it is very delicious. Yeah.
I'm glad it transported okay. I was a little concerned about the eggs settling or something in there. That was okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Sarah.
So I made something very simple, so sort of a go-to for snacks or whenever okay, stop it, because I said the word simple.
Every recipe she says is simple. Let's see if it is. Shall we?
I usually do this with extra wonton wrappers that I have whenever I make dumplings. I have either too much filling or I have too many wrappers. So sometimes I trying to figure out what I can use the wrappers for. And usually I put them in muffin tins and I make wonton cups out of them.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can put whatever you want into it, or you can make something and then put it into it and then bake them that way.
Right.
And so in my case today, I made buffalo chicken wonton cups. And I got this buffalo chicken recipe from something called the Forked Spoon. I said forked. theforkedspoon.com. And I took his recipe and I completely changed it up, but you don't have to. You can actually use his stuff. It is actually very delicious, but you take boneless, skinless chicken breasts. What he does is he actually marinates this with salt and pepper, and then he says you can marinate it with whatever other powders you would like garlic powder or onion powder or whatever, and then you put some oil on it, and then you bake it. And then you make the sauce, the buffalo sauce, which is Frank's Red Hot Sauce, butter, honey, a little bit of lime juice, garlic, and onion powder.
Oh, interesting.
So that sauce I made exactly as he said. You put it all into a pot and you whisk it up, and then you sort of put a little bit on the chicken and you bake it that way.
Okay.
And then you sort of pour the rest of the sauce on the chicken once it is cooked.
Okay.
What I did was, so instead of the boneless chicken breasts, I used thighs, and I cut it into slices, like really thin slices. And then I marinated it with salt, pepper, and I had this powder that I have called peri peri. You guys know from Silk Road Spices. I love it. I love peri peri chicken, their spice mix. It's amazing. So I put some of that in there, marinated it for a bit, and then instead of baking it, I took out my wok. I put some cornstarch on it, and then I fried it up so that it would be thicker and have that sort of consistency of like a little bit of a crunchier chicken.
Right.
But try not to overcook or over dry your chicken because it's going to go into these cups again and bake again.
Okay.
So then I made the sauce and I mixed it in with the chicken. Make sure there's not too much sauce, right? Because you don't want that that liquid to sort of seep through the wonton cups. You want it to be fairly dry but juicy enough, right? Then you take a muffin pan and you take your wonton wrappers. And the ones that I had were square. You sort of put 2 wonton wrappers, but you put them diagonally.
Right.
How would you say this?
I know
like
what
in a
you mean.
diamond shape, right? So you put one.
So they're like alternating.
That's right.
So the points go all the way around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it. Like you've got an 8-point shape.
Yeah.
Thing. Yeah. And then you make sure that it sits in the muffin tin. Some people like to just bake it as is with a little bit of oil on the bottom and on the top. They bake it at 350 Fahrenheit for about 10 to 12 minutes. And then they take it out and then they put the filling in it. I like to put my filling in it so that it's nice and hot and crispy when it comes out. I mean, ideally, this is supposed to be served as soon as you take it out of the oven, right? So what I did was I put the wonton wrappers, as said, and then I took a bit of the chicken and I put it into the cups and I put some feta cheese on top. I baked it for about 11 minutes at first, and then I took it out and I thought it could have stayed in for a little longer. I was in a big rush today, and so I put it in for another 2 minutes, and I think it worked out. And then I packed them up and I sent them over to you. What did you think?
I really liked those.
They had just the right amount of kick.
Yeah.
Spice
And
level was good.
Yeah.
They weren't drippy. They were really easy to eat as an appetizer. Right.
Yeah.
You could take a couple bites of it. The cup didn't fall apart and like crumple. And then you're like holding this weird pile of all your stuff and you're slurping it out of your hands. Right. Like it.
And the chicken didn't really fall out. Like it all kind of held.
You could take like a bite without looking like you're gnawing on it or whatever, right? Like sometimes you pick up appetizers and you take a bite and you're like, oh God, no, what do I do?
You have to shove the whole thing.
You have that moment of, well, I guess it's all going in.
Yeah.
I liked the crispiness in the wonton wrapper baked like that. I was wondering what you used because I was like, well, this isn't phyllo, but it's not. I couldn't figure it out. So
I mean, come on now. Was that simple?
Yeah, that seems simple. I'll go with you on that.
Right.
That buffalo sauce. I've only ever bought buffalo sauce. I never even thought about what's in it that makes it taste like. So I wouldn't have thought lime juice, and there was something else you said that I was surprised by.
I've made buffalo sauce a number of times, and I've never seen lime and honey go into it. But as soon as I saw that, I was like, oh, I'm trying this because I love wings.
Yes.
That's like my weakness. So I had to try it, and I really like this recipe, and I really like it with that peri-peri powder marinade.
That's what gave it the kick, right?
Yeah, that's what
peri-peri. Yeah,
that's spicy.
It was perfect.
Yeah,
yummy. I wanted more. I'm like, she only gave me 2, and now they're gone. This often happens.
I always make less food, but I always do an overpour for drinks.
Speaking of,
I was going to say, Sarah made this nice drink that will put her guests on the floor.
Yeah.
Good thing I'm already sitting on the floor.
At least it put us on the floor.
Let's
talk about the drink.
Yummy.
I think we can still talk. We're not quite.
So far, so good.
So far,
I haven't hit the bottom. It's like the bottomless drink.
I will not complete mine, I don't think, no.
I've been waiting because I enjoy so much when Erin and I discuss the one ingredient of this drink, and Sarah gets annoyed with us.
It went really well because when I picked up my jar and held it up, my husband was standing next to me and looking at it. He's like, a lime and an onion?
It looks like one, kind of.
Oh my goodness, man. Okay, these drinks are really hitting me, so I'm gonna start talking. Okay. This drink is called Asia Daisy. I really, really wanted to make something completely different from what I ever have, right? So first of all, it's from yummly.com. So yummly.com. Again, it's called Asia Daisy, and it's 1 lime, ice cubes, 2 ounces of gin, 0.75 ounces of lychee liquor, 0.5 ounces of simple syrup, 0.75 ounces of ginger ale, 1 lychee, and 1 mint sprig. And the mint sprig is just really for garnish. It's just like for a nice picture, kind of just sort of, it's not really for the taste. And you put these all together and you make this drink, right? And you pour it over. They suggest crushed ice for this one. And when you drink it, you'll understand why crushed ice would be better. It's because it's so strong.
It needs to be watered down significantly.
It needs the ice to start melting almost immediately. So ice cubes won't do that as fast as crushed ice. Okay. It's very much the strength of a, very strong martini. Right. But I do have to do a little shout out to Kensington Wine Market. So I called them up looking for something called a lychee liquor because I had never heard of this before. I spoke to someone named Chelsea, and Chelsea sat down for 10 minutes and helped me look or hunt down for a lychee liquor. She also then gave me tips on how to make my own lychee liquor.
Oh, interesting.
And, I'm thinking maybe for next Christmas.
What's the base of it?
Something called spiritives. So I guess it's like an 80 proof alcohol, and then you play around with it. Kensington Wine Market, the people there are really nice. They always have been, and they've got lots of knowledge about stuff, and they're really excited when they talk about these things. So just wanted to say hi, Chelsea, and thank you. But in the end, I did find the lychee liquor at a different store, and and the liquor is called Soho Lychee Liquor. That's the brand. So now when I was making this, I told you what went into it, right? First, I thought I would make 2 times the recipe. So I made it and then I looked at it and I'm like, I don't know about that because, there's 3 of us and I want to share it with my husband as well. So I think I'll make 8 times the amount. So I made 8 times. You heard me
instead
right.
Of 4, like 3 of us and your husband?
Yeah, instead of 2 times the amount, I made it 8 times. Like I made 8 times the recipe, right?
Okay.
But what happened was
we're like stunned. What?
That's why both of you're gonna see all of a sudden the table's gonna turn on Heather.
I know, but that's where you're gonna be surprised because I have this pitcher that I'm sort of pouring everything into, and then I run to the liquor store to get the gin, and the gin is 2 ounces. So I start pouring now 16 ounces, like I'm like counting out till 16 ounces. I only got to 12. So your drink is way less strong than it should be. Huh? You're welcome.
Well, Merry
goodness.
Christmas and a Happy New Year.
I can't even imagine it being more alcohol than there already is.
Anyway, what do you think? Do you like the flavor?
It's very tasty.
I do. Yeah.
Yeah. It's very strong on the lychee nut flavor. Sorry, every time I say it, I laugh.
Lychee.
The lychee flavor is very strong.
I don't know why, but in prior episodes, we've had a ongoing sort of difference of opinion on how to pronounce a certain name of a fruit called, as one would say, not me. This is not me. Just so my family and friends are listening from Asia, I do not pronounce it like this. So Erin calls it
a lychee nut.
No, it's a lychee nut.
You called it a lychee nut.
I don't know anymore.
Well, I'll tell you, Erin, because I was on the same page. We both said it was a lychee nut.
Okay, so maybe there's something I don't understand about it. Maybe it is a nut. Now I feel like a nut. Yeah. But I've always known it as a fruit. Oh, and I call it lychees, where I was born.
Okay, listen. We all know that
that's where it probably comes from.
Where does it come from?
Asia.
Yeah, okay.
However,
we rest.
Because maybe I am completely wrong. So now I think maybe we need our listeners to come help us out with this pronunciation. Because so the store that I ended up finding the liquor at, I actually called this person and I go, do you have any of the Soho lychee liquor? And he went, what? And he was from Asia.
He's from there?
He was from, like his accent was from there.
Okay.
And he went, what did you say? Soho what? Oh, Soho lychee liquor. And I went, yes. So see, maybe you guys are right because maybe
there was no nut involved.
No, there was no nut. There was never a nut involved. Lychees or lychees. That I have no clue.
So tasty.
Mm-hmm.
I just wanted more of everything. Mm-hmm. More of the bread with the hummus and the chimichurri. More of the wontons.
And the empanadas.
I liked all the winging it that we did.
Mm-hmm.
Totally.
I really liked, we all were like, well, I kind of did this and I sort of did that. And
You're all coming around to my MacGyver-esque. Okay, so we want to say Happy New Year.
Yeah, Happy New Year.
Thank you for listening.
If you need something to get you through the new year, these drinks surely shall do it for you.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
maybe my mocktail's more of the morning recovery drink. I don't know.
Oh,
and then
that's a great idea.
Really
I'm
big.
like, yes, I could totally see that the next day.
So maybe I'll have another one of my drinks and yours, and I'll keep hers for tomorrow.
There you go.
Yeah,
there's some ideas for you.
You got
and we should mention that we will not have an episode January 4th. We're taking a tiny break that week, but then we'll be back the following Tuesday with, I forget what, but something new.
Yeah, we'll let you know.
Thank you for listening.
Happy New Year, guys.
Happy New Year.
Bye-bye.
Really, I'm waving?
Yeah.
Nobody sees this.
And now for the fine print. We at Three Kitchens gratefully acknowledge we are telling these stories in the traditional territories of the Treaty 7 nations in southern Alberta and the Métis Nation of Alberta, Region 3. We honor the rich tradition of oral storytellers on this land who have come before us. You can find pictures and recipe links on Instagram and Facebook at Three Kitchens Podcast. If you like and subscribe on your podcast player, that helps more people find us.